go.
My name is Maya, and I am the costume designer of the superhero suit. I work on superheroes. I don't know that it gets any better than that. So the amount of time it takes to design and build one of these costumes is anywhere from 8 days to 3 weeks. And I always try and include something to do with the original. I take it very seriously. Our fan base is huge, and out of respect to the fans, I want to make sure that I'm doing right by them.
I added a little upgrade to your suit.
So this is the Flash. This costume has evolved a little bit, but I tried to stay as close to Colleen Atwood's original concept as I could.
Oh, very cool.
We've rounded out the pec area. The fabric had little lightning bolts printed on it, tiny little lightning bolts, and that was from the original. We've added a longer leather piece, and we've allowed this lightning bolt to go from front to back, just to allow a bit more of a flow to it. Don't forget, this show is called The Flash. It's not called the man in the gray pinstripe suit. So the Flash costume is very important. Colleen Atwood set a very high bar there, and now we're just trying to keep up. This is Rival.
I have no rival!
Rival. So the whole idea with Rival was to have him look like he was volcanic. So his outer layer looks scorched almost, and the idea here was, yeah, molten lava.
Nice skirt top.
The interesting thing about this costume was it was a little bit of a special effect, because when she turns, skirt flares out and we get to see the yellow underneath, which is her colors. You get that whole top vibe.
Anything for you, baby.
This is Mirror Master. Sometimes a character is just wearing clothes. They're not wearing a superhero suit. They're wearing regular clothes like you and I.
How do I look?
Better.
We try and find little subtle ways to introduce the character. So in his case, he's wearing a satin shirt, his suit has a sheen to it, his pocket square has a sheen to it, and all of those are to suggest mirrors. This is Kid Flash.
The Flash.
Kid Flash.
Turn around, darling. I wanted it to look like here are his shoulder blades, and just to emphasize big shoulder, small waist.
Putting on the costume for the first time was incredible. I just felt like a total geek, a total child, and it's a dream come true.
I got this.
There's that moment when they look in the mirror and they realize, oh my God, I'm a superhero. And it's magical.
Thank you.
This season, there's lots of superhero goodness coming at you, lots of it.
Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So huge news, if you guys missed it in that video, we saw full-blown Killer Frost and Vibe costumes that haven't appeared on the show yet, so this is to a breakdown. So if you missed it, in the background, they have a bunch of extra costumes that they don't talk about. They just say, you know, couple superhero things gonna be happening this season at the end of this video, and you see what looks like the Vibe costume with the gauntlets and Caitlin Snow's Killer Frost costume, which looks kind of like a mix of a couple different Killer Frost costumes in the comics. There are really like 3 different versions of the character in the comics, and each of those has had slightly different versions of their own costumes. There's Crystal Frost, Louise Lincoln, and then Caitlin Snow. So if this star looks familiar, you'll recognize this as part of Louise Lincoln's costume from the comics. She was in Assault on Arkham. That was the version of Killer Frost in that animated movie. So you can see they're blending a couple different versions of Killer Frost's costume, but they have like the darker blue leather look of Louise Lincoln with the star, but also the sleeves in the collar from Crystal Frost's costume. So I think they did that for a couple different reasons. Like they wanted to do Louise Lincoln just because she looks really hot, like it looks like a really good costume, but because it doesn't have any sleeves, Danielle Panabaker, the actress, would probably freeze herself in real life on set, because if you've never been on a film set, because the cameras and the lights and everything is so hot, when they film indoors, they refrigerate the set, meaning they turn the air conditioning way up. So just imagine standing around on a film set, freezing your ass off for 12 hours. So I think this version of the costume is meant to look really cool, invoke a couple different versions of Killer Frost in the comics, and also be a little forgiving to the actress Danielle Panabaker. But I like the way they've incorporated the star into the zipper here. And if you guys didn't see, they have already released the synopsis for the Killer Frost episode, episode 7. That's like when she's supposed to go full-blown Killer Frost. But we might not see her in the costume until the second half of the season, or maybe like the mid-season finale. But there's a lot of jumps between where Caitlin Snow is right now before she goes full-blown Killer Frost. but it'll be one of those situations, I think, when she does something bad for the right reasons and the team still tries to save her in the end. So they'll get to do like the really cool Killer Frost stuff, like we'll get a really badass comic book Killer Frost, but they'll do it without completely throwing Caitlin Snow, like the Caitlin Snow that we know, under the bus. Like they'll be able to save her by the end of the season, whatever it is they need to do to bring her back. But I think a lot of that twist gets into the duality of the season with what Dr. Alchemy is doing and the twist with his character. So it'll all start to make sense together once they start to reveal big plot points in the next couple of episodes. So just a reminder, there is no new episode tonight. It's back next week, but there's still Arrow, there's still Legends of Tomorrow, so almost everything this week will be normal with the exception of The Flash and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is also on break for a couple weeks. But also really cool, haven't talked about the Vibe costume yet. So in episode 2, Cisco said he might make a costume eventually, like yeah, maybe, but we saw his gauntlets, he'd been working on them, so we knew it was going to happen eventually. This actually looks pretty close to his comic book costume, especially with the way they use the colors. You can definitely tell that as sad as Cisco was at the beginning of the season, it seems like he's turned a corner, because this seems just like something that he would be super happy to do. But the question is if this is going to happen before the big Fortnite crossover, because I think that's going to be like a big comic book action event series, like Crisis on Infinite Earths. I mean, it's based on the Invasion storyline in the comics, but because it's so comic booky, they also want to make the characters look very comic booky, as in wearing comic book costumes. So I don't know about the timing on the Killer Frost costume, but it does seem like we might get some Vibe costume during that big Fortnite crossover. But let me know, when do you think they're going to debut the actual Killer Frost costume? Will it be in the Fortnite crossover, the mid-season finale, or do you think it's going to be during the second half of the season? But just to be clear, Danielle Panabaker is still a main cast member on The Flash, so no matter what happens with her, she'll still be in most of the episodes. So it's not going to be like a Captain Cold situation where they do something crazy and then they go away for a couple episodes. There might be like 1 or 2 episodes that she's not in a lot of, but she'll still be in most of the episodes regardless of what her Killer Frost status is. But get hype, it's going to be awesome. I'm so happy about this. Young Justice Season 3, and now we have Killer Frost full-blown comic book costume. So the rest of the year is going to be awesome. Really, every TV show is building to the mid-season finale, so it's just going to get crazier and crazier no matter what show you're watching. So Ghost Rider on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to go nuts, The Flash is going nuts with Savitar, Dr. Alchemy, Fortnite crossover, Supergirl is doing Cyborg Superman. I'm definitely going to do a video for that soon. But what's going to happen is my next video will be another Young Justice Season 3 video, then I'll do my Arrow episode video. That'll be Wednesday night. So be sure to subscribe to get everything. There is a new round of the DC giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. So all that stuff is going to post on Wednesday. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here for the trailer for the next episode of The Flash, and you can click here for all my Doctor Strange Easter eggs. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.